Please, if you can hear, if you can hear, let us know. If still you can't hear, let us know. Yeah. Even I have additional sound that I can add up. Sorry. Okay. But try as much as possible to let us know where you are speaking from. So let's as we are talking about Easter originality. Where does the word Easter come from? Because we know Easter is the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. But we are asking, where does the word Easter come from? So let's go straight and look at what the term seemingly derives from the Anglo-Saxon goddess of spring, Eostre, who was celebrated as she escaped winter harsh. But Eostre wasn't quite the pagan deity who we are commonly told transformed a bird into an egg, laying her companion. So see where the egg in Easter also coming from. Example, the forerunner of the Easter bunny. In fact, the only actual surviving mention of Eostre comes from 8th century monk, the Venerable Bede, whose writings suggest the English people call the fourth month Easter or Easter month. So I think there is also a history behind that fourth month. But marking the spring equinox after the goddess and feast were celebrated in her honor. Let's quickly look at this. How does I think this is the important part for us all. How does Easter relate to Jesus? When was the Last Supper? So how does Easter relate to Jesus? The Last Supper was the final meal shared with his disciples before his crucifixion, when the bread and goblet of wine displayed as elements of his own body on the day now known as Maundy Thursday, named from the Latin commandment, which Jesus gave to his disciple at the meal, was crucified. The New Testament Gospel are clear that Jesus held the Last Supper. Wow. Sorry, guys. Let me go back for us to understand it well. The New Testament Gospels are clear that Jesus held the Last Supper, was crucified at Golgotha, that's the Calvary, in Jerusalem on Good Friday, from the Old English, Gode, meaning holy, and resurrected 3 days later from the tomb in which he had been interred on Easter Sunday. So I think it's by coincidence. By the coincidence, who is this guy? By coincidence, Jesus Christ fell asleep or died on Friday and resurrected on Sunday. And this time was also a celebration time. And I think if we start reading the story behind, the secret behind the Bible, we'll get to know all this. Yes. So the Synoptic Gospel, that's Matthew, Mark, and Luke. These are the Synoptic Gospel in the New Testament. actually present the Last Supper as a Passover Seder, Jewish ceremonial meal. Though some items appear missing, Christ was therefore perceived as the new pasture. That's the Latin for Passover. And the celebration of his resurrection became the first Christian feast. So, celebration of his resurrection became the first Christian feast. In turn, Easter was referred to as the Paschal month for Christ as the Paschal or sacrifice Lamb of God. So, so these are the reason or the secrets behind why we celebrate Easter. So if you listen it well, you can see that there is a lot of, sorry guys. Yes. So that's what we want to ask, and that's what we are saying. When is Easter celebrated in your calendar? In the calendar you are using, when is Easter celebrated? But let's look at what they said about Easter is held on the Sunday after the first ecclesiastical full moon, which keeps more or less in step with the astronomical moon, following the vernal spring equinox on or around 21st March of the northern hemisphere, when the sun is exactly above the equator and day and night are of almost equal length. So these are the time we use to celebrate Easter. But I think as time goes on, the date start shifting and changing. But if you look at today I think today's date is 20th. So but if you look at what we are experiencing from here, it tells us that Easter should have been tomorrow. Easter is held on the Sunday after the first ecclesiastical full moon, following the vernal equinox on the northern hemisphere, when the sun is exactly above the equator and day and night are of almost equal length. So during time like this, the day and night get equal length, and that's when we celebrate Easter. So guys, let's look at this one. Who decided that Easter would be celebrated on this day? Who decided? As Jesus was crucified during the Passover festival and resurrected thereafter, it was logical to commemorate these events in close proximity. But when exactly Passover was celebrated according to the Jewish lunar calendar, which don't correlate with the Christian Julian solar calendar, thereby causing confusion. In 325 CE, Emperor Constantine, the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity, So if you look at what is going on, The Christianity or the Christian people had their way or their calendar, and the Jewish people also, or the Roman Empire people also have their own calendar. So after the first Roman emperor converted to Christianity, he decided to take charge of the matter. He convened the Council of Nicaea and decreed that Christ's resurrection was far too important to be connected with the festival of another faith. Since the days following the winter solstice gradually became longer and lighter, this provided ideal symbolism for the rebirth of Christ, the light of the world, as clarified in John's Gospel, or in the Gospel of John. So let's look at the last part of it. Why do we go to church at Easter? When did Easter church service first begin? Why do we go to church at Easter? In the northern hemisphere, each year the end of winter darkness was met with excitement over the coming of spring light. By the Middle Ages, it was only natural to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus at this seasonal time with religious service mirroring the changes. During the 3 days of Holy Week leading up to Easter Sunday, named the Triduum, the medieval populace would spend a vast amount of time attending church. And for the duration of this most holy period in the Christian calendar, the midnight early hour office of Matins and Laos, wow, were combined and pushed to a more convenient time on preceding events so that worshippers could attend an unforgettable liturgical event named the Temple, Latin of darkness or shadow. Wow, wow, wow. Now I wanted to check about why or what do Easter eggs represent, right? I don't think for now we need to focus on that thing, but we'll focus on different thing. We'll focus on it in a different time, a different particular place. Thank you once again. My name is Mike Keyes. It's because of you. That's why I don't feel to sleep. I always try as much as possible to come online with a varieties of content because I'm a content creator. So from morning to evening, I bring you the news gist. I bring you a history. I bring you a document. It's my prayers. It's my prayers to be with you always and for you to also be with me always. Thank you. Try as much as possible to share the link and subscribe if you have not yet subscribed because we have many things for you in the next future. Thank you once again.